Perfect. Thank you, Diana. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our first session in the series, Introduction to UiPath and the Academic Alliance. So I know Diana just did a great job of introducing ourselves, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper. So again, like she mentioned, my name is Michaela Rosenmeyer, and I am in charge of the United States partnerships with the Academic Alliance. I am based out of Houston, Texas, and since we're talking to educators, I like to include my alma maters, which were Texas A&M and SUNY Albany. And also, since we're going to be giving you a lot of facts and information, I like to start with something fun so you can see a picture of my dog, Freya. Arya, do you want to add anything to your introduction?
No, just that we're very excited to have you here and we hope that you enjoy this, and please feel free to send us any questions that you have. I'll be manning the chat. So yeah.
No, for sure. Thank you. So this is our agenda for today. I'm first going to give a little bit of background about our company, UiPath. After that, I'll provide an overview for our Academic Alliance program. So I think that'll be great for new educators and maybe even established educators because we've had a lot of changes over the past year. I'm going to go a little bit then into our automation roles and student resources. And then finally, I want to provide y'all with a tour of our educator platform, just because then we can dive into any initiatives maybe that y'all want to find out more about after you hear my presentation. So I know I just said I would start with who is UiPath, but in order to understand the reason for our company, everyone first needs to understand the purpose of automation. So a major reason is that so much technology investment is going into specialized enterprise applications. The average large company has 175 plus different enterprise applications, creating for a very fragmented technology landscape. So I always like to give this example. So maybe in a day, I might send an email with Microsoft Outlook. Maybe I'm looking at data with Microsoft Excel. And then I'm doing something with PDFs with Adobe. I'm sending Arya a message via Slack. Maybe I'm looking at data in Salesforce. Then maybe I have to access Workday. So whenever I saw 175, I was like, that is a lot. But if you just think about your day at a job, it can really add up pretty quickly. So these applications do a really great job in their specific domains, but most work processes need data to move across and within multiple applications, systems of record, and data repositories. These connections and workflows don't create themselves, they have to be made. And so every modern enterprise has this massive linkage burden, dragging down productivity, innovation, and all too often the human spirit. So it's truly people that bear the brunt of this linkage burden. I know I've worked jobs in the past where I can relate to this. I would have to copy and paste data from one application to another multiple times a day at that job. And then whenever I moved to UiPath, it was like a light bulb hit. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did not have to be doing that. I could have been doing a lot more fun work. But some other examples of this of low value repetitive work could be opening apps, combining data sources, performing repetitive actions within systems and applications. It can be very frustrating for people and, of course, very inefficient for enterprises. So to take on these tasks, software robots must emulate human interactions with screen systems to see, think, and do with very high accuracy and resiliency. So what do I mean by see, think, and do? The robot is able to see the screen just as a person would. So it can recognize buttons, it can recognize text, it can recognize text boxes, it can read what the text says, it can grab the URL behind text. The robot then has to think through and take actions on these buttons, logos, and images, thinking through, is this what I'm supposed to be clicking on? Is this what I'm supposed to be typing into? But ultimately, it's got to be able to act. And that's really the heart of automation. The robot sitting behind your computer can take over your mouse and keyboard. Human emulation is our core competency. We've been working on advancing this for over 15 years and have been awarded over 90 patents in areas like AI computer vision, document understanding, and more. All right, sorry, I scrolled ahead, so y'all got a little upsweep. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Y'all got a sneak peek. Okay, I was trying to look at the chat and I accidentally did the slides. All right. So now that you understand why we automate, I now want to go a little bit deeper about who is UiPath. So UiPath is now an AI-powered business automation platform and has long transitioned from solely being a robotic process automation company. So there are 3 layers that go into bringing automation and AI to a company with UiPath, and I'm going to go over each one and mention some of the products that are involved in each layer. So I'll definitely say if you're more new to UiPath, this might seem a little overwhelming because I'm just going to blast you with a lot of information. However, I think it's really important because then you can kind of see, maybe the discover or automate or different parts interest you or think it could be beneficial for your students. And then we'd be happy to provide you with the resources so then you can dive deeper and really understand either that phase or those products. So we're going to start with the discover phase. So the discover phase is continuously uncover opportunities for process and task improvements, helping you identify the highest ROI areas. So starting on the very left, we have our process mining product, which helps capture digital footprints left behind in systems such as SAP or Salesforce. It then compiles all of that raw data and transforms it into real process intelligence for analysis. So it can help users gain insights into process performance, maybe identifying bottlenecks or inefficiencies, and optimize processes for maximum efficiency. We then have our task mining product, which is similar. So it helps companies analyze employees' desktop activities to determine the best automations and process improvement opportunities. So with task mining, you can capture the variations of a known task. So let's say you have 10 people doing the same job. So maybe I do the job, A, B, C, D, whereas John, he goes A, B, and then he takes a right turn, and then he goes back to C, D. So just because you have a process at a company doesn't mean everyone's necessarily doing it the same way. So with task mining, you can really capture those variations and merge them together with the power of AI, getting a comprehensive picture of the existing workflow and be able to do some end-to-end analysis. Our third product here is our communications mining product. So this leverages state-of-the-art natural language processing. So it's able to turn unstructured electronic communication. So think things like emails, tickets, or survey responses, and moving that into structured data to drive action and insights in an organization. So this could be really great for maybe like customer service that receives hundreds of emails a day. So it's able to use that natural language processing and, sees one customer is very, very upset with what they got from that company, for example. So it gets put in a bucket that immediately a customer service rep needs to reach out to them. Or maybe another person, is happy or they left a good review. Then maybe they'll kick off an automation that automatically sends them 10% off their next purchase. So it's able to really kind of dive into the communications. Finally, our last product here is idea capture and management, and that's done with UiPath Automation Hub. So basically, this is just a product that collects all the different automation ideas for a company. So people like me and Aria, at any time at UiPath, we can submit an idea for automation. And then also, if you're using the product task mining, for example, and you documented that process and you're like, this is great for automation, let me submit that to the COE using Automation Hub. And then they're able to automate that faster implementation, and the impact is able to be measured. All right, so now that we discovered our process, let's automate it. So the first one that we have on the left is our low-code development. So low-code development includes all our products from what we call our Studio family. So Studio family is just what we call our low-code automation builders. So as Diana mentioned at the very beginning, we'll actually be building out automations tomorrow and Friday with 2 of our automation builders, Studio Web tomorrow and Studio on Friday. So Studio does have to be installed in a Windows environment, but it is the product that we recommend for automating full end-to-end processes. So it also allows for robust debugging, and it's kind of like the big tool, like if you're not sure if it could be, that's the one that you use, it can automate anything. We then also have Studio Web. So the great thing about Studio Web is that it does not require for any installation. However, it is mostly used for API triggered scenarios and web-based or user interface or UI automation. So that kind of leads us into the second is UI and API automation. So this just means that we can create automations both by interacting with the code behind the user interface, and we can also set up triggers or interactions directly through API-based connectors. The next product that we have is process orchestration. So this is done with our product called UiPath Orchestrator. Sometimes we did a really great job with naming our products. It really matches what they do. So our UiPath Orchestrator manages the robot workforce centrally and allows for companies to gain process visibility across business silos. Monitoring and logs help with debugging, audit or analysis, and third-party tools. The next one is intelligent document processing. So basically this is done with our UiPath document understanding tool. Again, another good name. So this processes documents using AI. So UiPath offers pre-built specialized AI models for the most common document types across industries and domains. Again, I don't know if any of y'all have worked jobs like this, but I worked one where we had to do a lot with passport data. So I worked in private aviation, and we would have one person that would just have to spend hours copying the passport data into our software. So that is definitely one place where both the employee and the company would have been a lot happier if they were using document understanding. Finally, we have integrated AI and machine learning. So this is done through our AI Center. So this allows for studio integration. So using that low code development, you can then call in or integrate with the machine learning models into processes. These models can be pre-built from UiPath or import your own to create business-specific AI-powered automations. All right, we're on the last phase. So the last phase is operate. So we have analytics with UiPath Insights. So Insights allows users to build their own or use a pre-designed template to customize with the KPI specific to that business. So this is just really what companies use to kind of measure the success that automation has brought to their company. Next, we have continuous testing with UiPath Test Manager to test and monitor automations and applications they rely on. We have unified management and governance with unified user, tenant, and license management, plus efficient human-robot collaboration. There's also centralized government. That word is just giving me trouble. It's governance, where we can assign roles and responsibilities and permissions to different employees depending on their roles. And then finally, UiPath offers flexible deployment to companies so they can get up and running quicker with lower infrastructure costs and operating costs. So I know I just gave everybody a lot of information. I think I've seen the chat kind of going. So does anyone have any questions? I think right now is a good place to stop.
Yeah, and feel free to take yourself off mute if you just want to ask it.
Yes,
in
please
person.
do. We're a small group.
Yeah, I know we're gonna talk about this a little bit later on, Michaela, but it's a common question that whether or not that process mining, task mining, and communications mining are available to use in our classes. I mean, to use that's Cody Baldwin is asking that.
Okay, yes, Cody. So we have educators that have started using process mining, and we have a couple educators that have used task mining. Communication mining, not as much, just because it's harder to get the input of like hundreds of emails to test that out. So I would recommend more of the process and task mining. What we can do is we can either give educators access for 60 days just with the enterprise trial, or what we can do is just request with that product manager to get you access. That product manager for process and task mining loves to support educators and academics. So we would be happy to work that with you. Just send me an email after this and I'd be happy to talk about it. And that's for anybody else. If anyone else is interested or just wants a trial or whatever the situation may be, I'd be happy to set you up. Thank you, Aria. That helps me get through the messages faster. All right, so now that I kind of went over the UiPath platform, of course, we have to look at how is our UiPath platform compared to other companies. So these are all from third-party analysis in 2024. And from left to right, to move one of my cups, we have the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So this is for robotic process automation. The y-axis is ability to execute. X-axis is completeness of vision. We then have the Everest Group Peak Matrix, where we have the market impact and vision and capability on the Y and X axis respectively. respectively. And then we have the Forrester Wave, which is for document and analytic platforms. So, and this has the current offering on the Y and the strategy on the X, and where the market presence is just the bigger the circles, the bigger the market presence. I always like to go over the axis with educators just because that was drilled into me whenever I was in grad school. So looking at these three graphics, you can see UiPath is in the top right compared to other companies, but just to mention a couple other companies you might have heard of, for RPA, Automation Anywhere, Microsoft are right there. For the Everest Group with process mining, Celonis is the other star performer. And then for the Forrester Wave for document mining and analytic platforms, you also see for the leaders being OpenText, Google, and IBM. So now wanting to look at UiPath and really what industries we're in. So this is all the different industries that you can see UiPath. UiPath really began with a focus of companies in banking, financial services, and insurance, but we've since been able to expand to a wide range of industries. We began with those three industries just because there are a lot of high repetitive rule-based processes, but with all of the different products and capabilities we've added, we've really been able to expand our offerings. Every company, every industry, and every line of business really have tasks and processes that can be automated, as you can see in this graphic. And I'm not going to delve too much into this. We'll definitely send you all the slides after this, so if you want to look at the companies a little bit closer. So here's just one company story I wanted to share with you today. So I wanted to look at it high level and then really close up. If you'd like to hear any more of our customer stories, of course, for a company, we have several stories you can check out both on our webpage and YouTube, and I'd be happy to help narrow down the search if you're looking for something specific. So Canon is a leading provider of digital imaging solutions and brought automation and AI into their finance department. So their finance department was struggling to process the 5,000 invoices they were receiving on average a month. So outside of the number being an issue, the other problem is that a lot of these documents were paper documents, which if you've had any work with automation, it definitely makes it a little bit more difficult to automate. So Canon did implement a basic automation workflow. However, it was very hard to maintain with little to no learning capabilities. So this resulted in a lot of exceptions that required employee intervention. So there was only about a 35 to 50% accuracy from that automation. So then Canon decided to partner with one of our partners, Greenlight Consulting, which Greenlight Consulting is also a great partner of our Academic Alliance program. So we are big fans of them. And they began using UiPath Document Understanding and the Action Center. So with adding those two products and having their automation in place, 9 months after deployment, the solution reduced human intervention to below 10% and eliminated their invoice backlog in its entirety. So I know this isn't one of those, crazy number examples or anything like that, but I think a lot of people can find this very relatable or have some experience that they can think to how this could have benefited both them and the company. All right, before I dive into the Academic Alliance program, I would be happy to answer any questions that we've had so far.
Hi, I'm responding to Phil Wilson. He's asking about areas of education where he's saying, are there areas of education where we should be adding value over and above of your curricula? And are we able to be qualified to teach your content? This is something that we will discuss shortly. So hopefully
Yes.
all of those answers will be, you get all those answers. And afterwards also we can, dive a little bit deeper into it too.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Aria.
Mhm.
So now I'm going to go over our Academic Alliance program. So here we go. So first question is, who do we partner with? So we partner with universities, colleges, and schools. So we've got as low as middle school and as high as, grad school, workforce development organizations, nonprofits. So basically anywhere there's somebody wants to be teaching UiPath to somebody else, we are happy to make that partnership in place. So what do we offer is usually the next question. So the UiPath Academic Alliance partnership offers comprehensive services for educators and students, empowering them with the resources, training, and support necessary to effectively teach automation and drive innovation in education. So we offer onboarding resources for educators, so similar to the sessions that we're wanting to have this week. If any of you all have feedback or if there's certain things that you want to see from future sessions, please do submit it to us. We'll actually be providing a feedback survey at the end. We'll definitely take that into account because we want to make sure that we're using your time to the best of our abilities. Outside of these sessions, we also have videos on our educator platform that I'll be showing here soon. And then we also have self-paced learning plans on our academy. So anything that you're wanting to teach in your class, that is our curriculum. We have that where you can go through, and it's similar to like a Coursera. So it has videos, it has text, it has exercises, it has quizzes. So you can kind of train yourself before you then train your students. So kind of leads us into the next one with the self-paced and instructor-led curriculum. So we have those learning plans that you can go through on our learning management system that I mentioned called Academy. And also we have instructor-led curriculum. So that's for if you want to teach it live. So it has the PowerPoints with the speaker notes and it has all the exercises similar to what would be in the self-paced learning plan. We actually have the same team at Academy creating both of those. So they are a pretty good match with each other. We also offer UiPath software at no cost for teaching, learning, and researching purposes. We then offer certification discounts. So we recently launched a student recognition initiative that allows for students to take certifications at no cost. I'll dive into that a little bit deeper when I go into our educator platform so you can understand the process. We also have an educator recognition program. So we love to recognize our educators for the initiatives that you're going through. So if you publish a research paper, if you get certified, or we also have recognition if you're a visionary educator and go above and beyond. So a bunch of different ways that we can recognize you for the efforts that you do. We also have research resources. So we like to highlight the educators that do research to hopefully make those connections if you're wanting to get into research with our platform or use cases or even how you think is the best way to teach UiPath. I've seen a couple of papers on that as well. So we like to highlight the educators that are doing research, and we also have an Excel list of a literature review of all the different research papers that we could find that has to do with UiPath and also have been submitted to us from educators. I know that's kind of the not fun part of research, so we try to help you out a little bit in getting started with that. We also offer event support. So Aria recently did a really great event this past fall with Central Michigan University, and she really was able to connect industry with education and bring mentorship to students. And the students were able to work on really great projects and get certified and being able to present those projects to industry members, which is really great experience for those students. We also have talent connection initiatives where students are able to highlight their digital credentials that they earn through their training and via our directory platform that we have. This directory platform, we always make sure to highlight to our customers and partners looking for talent. We also have partnered with Kelly Services. So we have a whole platform there as well where students can create profiles and be recruited for talent. So I told you who we partner with, I told you what we offer, and then now is what our expectations are. So if you're not already part of the Academic Alliance, all you have to do is fill out the form to join the Academic Alliance, or maybe you were part of the Academic Alliance, but you haven't done anything with us for a little while. Not a bad idea to fill out the form and we can make sure you're all set up to access our platform. If you don't mind, Aria, if you can put the link in the chat to join just in case anyone needs it. We ask that everyone delivers a course. Again, we know it takes time sometimes to implement new curricula, so we're not trying to, put a timeline on that. Complete our biannual check-in surveys and keep regular communications with our team. So that's just so that we're able to know accurately which universities are teaching and how far they're teaching. This is also really great when we have customers and partners reaching out to us wanting to recruit talent. Of course, we also love your feedback because we're always looking to incorporate that and make it a better program for you all, and also just to show what value we're bringing back to the company. And then finally, our last expectation is just to encourage students to become UiPath certified professionals. So again, this is the end of this section. So I'm happy to take a pause and answer any questions or anything. Again, as Diana mentioned in the beginning, if you're more of a get off mute and talk kind of person, I'd be happy to do that as well. Okay. Are there any questions I need to talk to Arya, or do you think you got the chat?
I got the chat, but yeah, there are a couple coming in, and we can address them if you want. And
Yeah.
then
Can you
Jane is
Yeah.
yeah.
Download the software Hope. I'll definitely do that. Natalia, what does it mean to deliver a minimum of one partial? Yeah, we need to reword that. So let me read the whole question for everybody in the audience. What does it mean to deliver a minimum of one partial or complete course annually? So we know that it's, very difficult, or maybe you don't even have interest to teach a whole UiPath course, but you're teaching a course. We see it a lot in the course called Emerging Technologies in Accounting. So that's what we mean by a partial course. So it's not a full course dedicated to us, but maybe it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks or anything along those lines. So that's what that means. And then Shin, I will get to your question in about 5 minutes. If I forget, please remind me again. And then Francis, Ari's going to share the link.
Yes.
And then, so I'll make sure to do download and Academy. Perfect.
And also Katie is asking that she recognizes this will be taught more in the next 2 days with the demos, but is Studio Web sufficient for Mac user students? Yes.
Yes. And also, just to kind of go off what Arya was saying as well, on each of the days where we're building the process with Studio Web and Studio, we're going to take the last 15 minutes. I'm going to show you where our course curriculum is on our educator platform, but we're also going to kind of dive deeper. Like if you're like, Studio Web's are products I want to use, I don't want to have to worry about installation. We'll show you which content that we recommend based on you making that platform choice. So we'll make sure to kind of dive a little bit deeper on, okay, I'm teaching with Studio Web, what do I use? So we'll make sure to take that time there as well. All right. So I'm just going to quickly finish off this presentation because I do want to move to the educator platform. Again, we're going to be sharing these slides with you. So I'm going to actually skip ahead to this slide because this can be very helpful when also outside of, which platform do you use, which learning content just based on the role names. So automation is creating new roles and elevating existing roles by adding automations. So we have different roles that you might see in our UiPath ecosystem. So I just want you to understand kind of what they mean. So we have automation users. So automation users, automation is not your full job. Maybe you're an accountant and you just kick off an automation using the UiPath assistant. And maybe you know how to submit ideas to the automation group at your company, and you understand what's the purpose of automation and what benefit it brings both yourself and the company. So it's pretty kind of base level. We also have citizen developers, so I would be classified as a citizen developer. I know how to automate small tasks, so I might automate a task for me and Arya. So I created one the other day with sending y'all emails actually, so a little bit peek behind the curtain there. So you can use it for different things, but you're not automating a full invoice processing. So it's just part of my job, but I'm not doing automation every single day. We also have process mining developers that become, kind of an expert with process mining. We have business analysts that are really focusing on that discover phase. So whenever I was going over the UiPath platform, and you were like, oh, this discover phase sounds really great and interesting for me, I would highly recommend checking out our business analyst content. And then we also have automation developers that develop out the automations. So if you want your students to get hands-on experience with Studio, even if you don't want them to get to the full level of an automation developer, this would be a great place for you to take that content. So I just like to share this with educators because you might start seeing terminology and just not really understanding where that's coming from. All right. So I am going to leave the last couple slides.
Hey, Michaela.
And yes, Jim, sorry.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very well, thanks. I have a question. So,
Yes.
you had mentioned a moment ago, full courses dedicated to RPA
Mhm.
versus, say, a partial course, emerging technologies and accounting, for example. And I'm contemplating both. But if you have that abbreviated course,
Mhm.
there a kind of a minimum amount of time that you should be focusing your students on becoming citizen developers versus automation developers. And then, we teach a lot of analytics. And so, what about the business analyst role? So I'm just trying to get a sense I would imagine if it was a full course, you'd be going for automation developers, hands down. But
Mhm.
you only have 3, 4, 6 weeks to focus on RPA.
Yeah.
Recommendation?
Yeah, so one thing I recommend a lot, especially if educators, so let's say you love the automation developer content and you want your students to do that. I would say, like, let's say your students get 60% through the content and that's as far as you want to go. Because in the beginning, it's just very much basics and just learning the platform. But then after that, it's a lot more focused. Like maybe you're focusing on Excel automation, or maybe you're focusing on debugging, or so you can kind of pick the content that you want your students to learn. They get to that 60% point, which is really great. And then you can say, like, I know students are super busy, but if you've already got them like 60 to 70% of the way there, you say, hey, maybe this summer, if you have a couple hours one week, you're almost to the end of completion. You just have to do these couple courses and then you can get certified. So I do recommend that to some educators. We're not saying you have to get to the finish line, and we can help you choose which courses would be best if you're not doing the full course in its entirety. And just let your students know, like, if you have time and you want to go all the way, you're almost there. So that's usually what I recommend.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Alrighty. So I am then going to move over here. And then are y'all able to see the UiPath Academic Alliance partner portal?
I can see it, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first start with the software download so I do not forget. So if you're wanting to download Studio or Studio X, you're going to go to this link that I'm putting in the chat. You're going to fill out this form, and then you're going to receive an email to whatever email address that you filled out. And it's going to be from info@mail.uipath.com. And on that email, you're going to get 3 items. You're going to get the installer. You're going to get directions for installation, and then you're going to get your license code. So I highly recommend to check out the installation guide as you go through. Most of it's very much so common sense, but it just gives you a little confidence that you're doing everything right. So this is what the email is going to look like. Download Academic Alliance Edition 2023, 2022, 2021. We recommend that you download 2023 for our trainings on Friday, just because that's what we're going to be using. And then here is the license code down here. So that's how you install those 2 versions of the software. If you are coming to the Studio Web session only, don't worry about that. We'll show you how to access Studio Web, so no download necessary for that. But this is how to download for Studio and Studio X. So this is our UiPath Academic Alliance Partner Portal. So this is our homepage. And basically on here, we have news and events. So as you can see here, we have the information for these sessions that were hosted today. So if you're ever going to our page, it's a good page just to check out and see what's going on with our program. We then have on our Getting Started tab, we have a bunch of different videos. So if you want to hear very similar, but it's a little bit different, like a UiPath overview, or you want to hear student benefits. And sorry, there's text on the bottom. I'm not sure what's happening right now. If you want to hear more about student benefits for learning automation, because I kind of skipped that section today, you can check that out as well. Or you can also hear stories from other educators. And then for the digital credentials, like I was mentioning, we have the educator credential. So if you're wanting to, work to get different recognition through our program, this is a great page to show because it tells you, which different certificate or badge you can earn and also the criteria to earn this digital credential. So it goes through in pretty great detail. How long does it should take a maximum of 10 minutes, Hope. If you still haven't, yeah, thank you, Chris. If you still haven't gotten it by the end of the course, let me know and I'd be happy to help troubleshoot with you. And then Kevin, I'm about to go through the student discount. So the initiative that we recently just launched is the Student Recognition Initiative. So basically what it is that once the student finishes their training in your course, or even as I was mentioning to Jim, they do most of the training in your course, but then finish it solo. What they then do is they fill out a form that you provide to them right here, the prospective certified student form. We like to use a lot of words here at UiPath. Students fill out that form, and then what you have to do as an educator is just confirm that they are a student in your course, because we want to make sure we're giving those discounts to the students in the Academic Alliance program. We confirm that you are indeed an educator here for the Academic Alliance. And then the students will fill out a short assessment. I believe it's about 20 questions. And then depending on their score is depending on what they get. So if they get a 70% or greater, they'll get a digital credential specific for our Academic Alliance. And they'll also get a 100% free certification voucher. So currently right now, for what certifications are included in this process, we have the Automation Developer Associate and the Business Analyst Associate certification. But we're closely partnered now with our certification team. So if you feel like we're missing some of the certifications, we'd be happy to, bring that to our manager and try to get those included as well. So basically all we're trying to do is just confirm the student did go through training. They are part of the Academic Alliance, because through you're part of the Academic Alliance. So that's kind of the purpose of this initiative, and hopefully to be able to get more students certified, because I know it can be kind of tough out there for students. We then have our UiPath software page. So this is where you can grab the link for downloading the software. We also have what version each learning plan currently is. So if you're wanting to use, different learning plans, here's where you can see which version they're currently at. If you'd like to have a deep dive into our studio family, again, like I mentioned, those are our low-code automation builders. You can check out this video. If you're unable to attend, excuse me, the sessions this week, we also have, we're going to send you the recordings, but here's another location where we have a tour of the Studio and Studio X interface, and I'm planning this year to add a tour of the Studio Web interface as well, because right now it's missing from the family. Okay. For getting to Rafi, great question. So to get to this page, we have to make sure that everything's set up correctly in the background. So I could also check that for you, but what you can do to check is to go to the educator portal, uipath.com. I'll put that in the chat. Sorry about that, guys. And what you're going to do, if you've never accessed this page before, you're going to see, I might messed up because I need to do this incognito. What you're going to see whenever you do that is it'll say like first time users, click here or something like that. So click on that, and first time here, register and go through that process. So your account should be set up, but if you get any errors through that, please do send me a message or send us a message in the chat, and Arya can write down those names, and we'll make sure to troubleshoot after this session. Oh, awesome. Great news, Rafi. Thank you so much. So the difference between Studio and Studio X, so they're both programs that have to be installed in a Windows environment. Thank you, Chris. So they're both installed in Windows environment. We used to say Studio is a low code while Studio X is a no code. That's still for the most part true, but I do see Studio X getting a little bit more techy to follow kind of the trend of Studio. Studio X is what is used for citizen developers, like Chris mentioned, but we do now see Studio Web getting more involved in that conversation. And we know Studio Web can be really great because we've had educators that have really, gone through the trials of making sure students can access the software with Macs and having to install into computer labs. So that's why we're wanting to have that Studio Web session this week, just because we've done a bunch of Studio X in the past, but we know some educators are really interested in Studio Web just because of not having to install software. Studio and Studio Web do not have the same functionality at all. So Studio, you're able to automate both web and desktop applications. So you're able to do the full automation, you're able to do the full debugging. Studio Web is kind of a smaller, I mean, I kind of think of it as like, having an app on your phone, whereas doing something on your computer, it's just this, you're not able to do as much. So for example, if I had a desktop application on my computer, I would not be able to automate with Studio Web. So you're only able to automate web browser automations. So for example, with our Studio Web exercise that we're going to be doing, we're using Google Sheets instead of using Microsoft Excel. on our desktop, just because you have to be able to make the connections either via API or just automating websites right through there. So it's still a really great tool, and you're able to do those small tasks, but it does have limitations that Studio doesn't have. Yes, and thank you, Marianne. We are definitely more than happy to help have those conversations with IT and computer labs. I've had multiple now. So if you need us to be involved in those conversations or to give recommendations for installation computer labs, feel free to CC me on that email, and I'll be happy to work further with that. Thank you so much, Marianne. All right, let me just do another scroll.
I'm still
I think
slowly
you're doing great, Aria. You're doing great.
replying to some of them.
And thank you, Chris, also for her and Marianne, some of our more
Yes, thank you, Marianne. I knew that Michaela was about to address your question, so but
All right, perfect. So just a quick review, we have our homepage, which has our news and events, getting started, which has the UiPath overview, student benefits video, and also some videos from other educators to hear their stories. We have our digital credentials, both for educators and students. Students can also receive that 100% off certifications. We have the UiPath software with the Studio Family, Studio, and Studio X video, which for everybody with a bunch of questions on Studio, I highly recommend that you check out these videos. I think it could be really beneficial. I don't have the time to do a deep dive right now. And then we also have our courseware and exercises. So as I mentioned, for our Studio and Studio Web series this week, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that, just because, if you're interested in Studio Web, here's what we recommend. If you're interested in Studio, here's what we recommend. And then as Chris mentioned, currently the Citizen Developer Learning Plan is with that Studio X. So on our homepage, I have a list of each of the pages with the different content available. It has what are the central products currently for those learning plans, what's the maximum duration. So, and just for people that have been around for a while, I do pad this a little bit more time than what you would typically see in Academy, because I do know students sometimes take a little bit longer. And as I was mentioning with Jim, it's maximum duration. You don't have to do a full 65 hours of Automation Developer Associate. Maybe you just do 15. They can see if they like it, if they want to go further, or if not, they have great hands-on experience with their technology and they can really see the power of automation. So not going through a whole thing is really not a big deal. We also have a video if you would like to check out and learn a little bit more about the different roles. I know I kind of had to speed through that a little bit today. And then this is just a link to all the different pages. Alrighty. You do not have to be credentialed to teach, Francis. We do recommend to prepare to the best of your ability, whether that be going through the self-led learning plan or anything along those lines, but we do not check for certifications in order for you to be able to teach our learning. Of course, we recommend that you do get certified, but it's definitely not a requirement. And then I know I'm kind of going to be going over a little bit, but I did want to show this page. Diana, is it okay if I go about 5 minutes over? And educators, if y'all need to drop, this will be included.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So just wanted to show one example of a page. So this is just the Automation Developer Associate. So as you can see, it has the audience, has a duration, products included, so you can make sure that you have everything technically set up, and then the learning outcomes. So we have the instructor-led training content and the self-led training content. So you can think of this as, I want to teach this live with PowerPoints, or I want the students to go through learning plans themselves, and maybe in class together we work on projects or go through different content. So what we have here with our instructor-led, we have trainer's guide, presentations, projects, capstone projects, all things that you can check out. And then we also have the links to our self-led learning plans. So the automation developer is actually broken up into 2, which makes it really great. If you're not wanting to teach the full content, you can just have them go through Automation Explorer and then just make them aware of the following content for the developer training. And then also gives information about the certification if they were to take it at full cost. But again, we're now offering 100% off on the certification vouchers. One other thing I want to mention, just because Shin mentioned it in one of his questions. So let's say you teach the course live, but you still want the students to be able to get, this digital credential, and you want them to be able to get this digital credential. You just have them go to that learning plan. They'll enroll in it. and then they don't have to go through all of these courses to take this Automation Explorer assessment. So once they're able to pass this assessment, they can still get that digital credential. That was a request that we did to this team because we wanted students that go through this course live to still be able to share on LinkedIn, to put on their resume, yes, I did go through this training. So there are plenty of opportunities for your students to get digital credentials via going through Academy learning plans, getting certified, and then if they want to get involved with the community with Diana, of course, there's other ways to be recognized there as well. So plenty of ways for us to recognize your students, and your students approved to employers they did get training. And then Francis, yes, the certification discounts, you just have to go through that quiz yourself. And you can also get that discount for yourself as well. So I greatly apologize that I went over a little bit. I didn't realize I had so much information to share with you guys. I hope you did find it helpful. I'll stay on for however long to keep answering questions, but if you feel like your questions are answered, you're good to go. If you feel like, let me bring up the PowerPoint again. If you feel like you need to have a one-on-one conversation with me to really kind of determine what you would like to be teaching, feel free to send me an email. It's in the bottom left of the screen. Oops, I lied to you. Now it's in the bottom left of the screen. I'll also put my email here as well as Aria's. So feel free to send us an email. We'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one to answer any of your questions. If you're just like, okay, I just got a lot of information, now I don't know what I want to do. We're happy to help with those kind of questions.
Yeah, Michaela, before you get into the questions, do you want to mention the survey?
Yes, and then also we're going to be providing, as I mentioned, a feedback survey, just because this is our first time doing it after not doing it for a very long time. And so we're kind of trying to see, where is our audience now? What are they interested in? Do they want harder automations? Do they want me to dive even more deeply into certain products? Whatever the case may be, please do provide that feedback, and we would be happy to, make any adjustments necessary to make that good for you. So we'll make sure to provide that. And then also anyone, Patrick, that attended the session will get a copy of both the recording and the PowerPoint presentation. So that was a really great question.
Yeah, and are you putting the URL to that survey in chat?
Yes, I will.
Perfect.
And then we'll also email it to y'all as well if you have to drop, because I know it's taking us a second. For current advanced AI instructor, do you recommend any specific onboard? Nothing specific, Phil. I think it's really just you deciding kind of what content that you want to teach, and then what you need to do for yourself to feel confident to include that in your courseware. So if you kind of share with us more details about what you're wanting to teach, we'd be happy to send recommendations, but y'all are the experts on being educators. So anything that you usually do to teach something, that's what we recommend. Yes, Francis, Dinah, can you drop the links again to register for the next trainings this week? We've had a lot of questions, so I think they're all the way up at the top.
Yeah, let me send for the next one, and I'll put them both there real quick.
Okay, I greatly appreciate that.
And I'll share the link to the survey as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll try and get it up real quick. Okay, perfect. All righty. Thank y'all so much for attending. Again, we'll stay around if I can stop sharing, sorry. If y'all have any questions, but if not, you're free to depart. And I hope y'all all had a happy holidays. I kind of skipped that part. So happy holidays and happy new year to you all.
Kayla, it's Hope. It's so good to see you. Should I stay on or will you just resend that email? I mean, I know how to download UiPath. I just haven't gotten the email.
Yeah, what I'll do, Hope, is I'll manually send one over to you. So just give me a couple minutes after this session, probably about like 11:10 our time, and I'll just manually send one over to you and kind of do a look into that. So I apologize about that.
Oh no, it's probably a problem on my end, but you are always a dynamo, and I'm excited about all the classes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Hope. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much for everybody. Really good questions and really engaging. I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're good to close, Diana.
Okay, great. Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you for-
Appreciate it. Great job,
Alrighty. Thank you so much.
Michaela and Aria. Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.